at half of their discharge capacity. In other words, you need twice as many as you think. This is a picture of the farm, the main house in the farm, which, like I said, is designed to be naturally conditioned against, or I would say with the help of the natural elements. We have a very large overhang on the left and the right. We have a big overhang on the north and the south, because the one thing we don't want is direct sun into the house anytime after 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, because if we do, it's too late. That sun will hit the glass starts to radiate the heat into the house, and we have to do something to get rid of it, and that's typically something with mechanical means, which means using electrical power, which is something we're trying to minimize. So large shading areas, large overhang, maximum insulation, keep the heat out. Don't let it ever enter your building. Rule number 2, we want air movement. Air movement is directly proportional to our feeling of comfort. As we are sitting on this tent, we're about to die because there's hardly any air movement. If we had a big old ceiling fan right here, we would be feeling much better. Not that that ceiling fan lowers the temperature, it does not, but it allows our skin, our body, to perspire more easily, and we experience that as a cooling effect. If you're coming out of a pool and you have a fan blowing air at you, it will feel almost cold. Well, it's not. It's purely that effect of the air movement allowing your body to perspire more and lowering the perceived temperature, and that's what we do in the house. So we, first of all, look for where the wind comes from, and in the coastal area the wind comes from the southeast. We have Mother Nature supplying us free of charge with a southeasterly breeze from the coast every single day in our lives. But we need to be open to it. We need to have access to it. So when we locate the house, we need to make sure that there is an opening which has that breeze come to us. The house has to be positioned in such a way that that breeze can enter. So we have to have large openings. We have 8-foot high sliding doors, which all around the house allow that breeze to enter and to exit. We have 12-foot high ceilings, so there's lots of place for the breeze to move and to give us a wonderful microclimate. So between keeping the heat out and allowing the breeze in, we're doing good. We achieved basically what was achieved when people built houses before there was mechanical air conditioning, because apparently people didn't live before there was air conditioning. They just built different. And then we changed our building methods because we had this wonderful mechanical air conditioning system now, which, you know, would keep us as cold as we want at any time in any building, and that's what we started to do. Now we realize that there's consequences. And there's many other consequences related to as well, comfort, health, but I'm just talking about energy right now. So it's something we need to consider, and it's something we can change. There are alternatives, which we need to try and use. And it needs to, again, come from people like you. People like you need to try and see how they incorporate it into their future. So if you are to change a house, build a house, or whatever, you need to look at these things. Hey, can I open the window? Where's the southeast? Where's the sun? Do I get sun into the house? Is there protection against the sun? Is there an obstruction from the breeze? All these kind of questions. And if you talk to builders or developers who've never had these kind of questions, they think you're probably a loony. But if they get 10 people asking these kind of questions, they come home in the evening and say to his wife, you know what, they have all these people talking about this and this, I need to try and learn about that. Otherwise I'm going to lose my business. And that's how you build up the demand. That's how the supply industry will follow and simply match the demand. That's the rules of economy. And then it starts to be introduced in the building code, and so forth. A few more pictures, we're almost out of time. A very important thing is to get that hot air out. He says, time is up. Well, this is the last hour of the of the weekend, so I'm taking the liberty of talking a few more minutes. So it's very important to have in the top of the house, somewhere either in the roof, in the eave, or under the roof, an opening for that hot air to get out. What we did is we actually built a clear story window in the top of the center of the house facing north, so no heat enters, but the air gets out, and as a bonus we get light to come in, free of charge. Compliments of Mother Nature. Again, you know, access to that breeze is very important, protection against the sun. The beds here are close to the window, these louver windows, which were used 50 years ago, which are the most practical things to have as much air movement as you can, and can be closed easily when the weather turns cold. Refrigerators, which are designed to keep cold and also to be energy efficient, like this model where the compressor, which gets hot, is on the top instead of the bottom. Just imagine we have a box which is designed to keep things cool, and in the bottom is a thing which gets so hot that you have to have a fan to blow the hot air into the kitchen. No problem, we turn the thermostat down and the problem is solved. It's not a good way. There's better ways. We're cooking on propane, like I said, no electric heat. An example of our battery bank. I'm going to go very fast, otherwise I'm getting into trouble. I want to end with one slide, which is right here. If you want more, come see us next week, October 3, open house, all day long. It's the tour of energy independent homes, organized by the American Energy Society and the local chapter, in this case the Houston Renewable Energy Group. If you're in the Houston area, feel free to come. Directions are either on our website, Animal Farm Center, or come to the farmers market in Austin or Houston and you'll get a flyer. Any questions? We have no time for questions. Go ahead.
Types of batteries, what do you recommend?
What was the question?
Types of batteries, what kind do you recommend?
Oh, the type of battery. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of choices there, ma'am. Our battery technology is the same as we had 50 years ago, which means big chemical factories which have limited lifetime, and we're working on better solutions, but they're not quite there. So we now have sealed batteries like the last picture I showed you, which means you don't have to put the water in every once in a while, but they're still lead-based acid batteries. Does that answer your question?
Do you have a brand you recommend?
No,
Thanks.
they're all the same. Just buy a good one rather than a Walmart, because in the end you gain. Good batteries have a design life of 20 years, but once again, under laboratory conditions. That means 76 degrees, which we don't have. Our average temperature is significantly higher, and therefore my first cell started to fail after 17 years. And I got very upset, and the guy said, read the fine print, and I did, and I said, sorry. Those are the practical lessons. One more question.
Thank you.
Yes?
One more. You said you started off with a well. Did you purchase a 12-volt pump or pumping water?
The question was, we started out with a well, did I purchase the 12-volt pump? The answer is yes. I went online and I looked for solar pump, and I found a company called Solar Jack, which is no longer known under that name, which is now called something else. And they showed me they had this wonderful pump which is designed to run off battery power generated by solar, which is at least 3 times as efficient as our general submersible well pump, which runs on regular power.
Can you get a pump like that and pump up to maybe a horse and a half?
Absolutely. We currently have we're in our 4th phase of well pump. We started with this tiny little 3-gallon per minute pump for our horse and our little family. Then we went to a 10-gallon per minute pump. Now we're at a 25-gallon per minute pump, which takes 1,300 watts, which is about a horse and 3/4 in terms of electricity. Does that answer the question, sir? And again, the
how expensive is that? What's the
those pumps run in the $1,600–1,700 range, and one very good source for all of the things I've talked about today is a magazine called Home Power. HomePower.com. The guys are probably out here. I haven't seen them. You can find it in the bookstores. I like to have the real hard copy and just sit on the couch and read it. It has case histories like the one you listened to today. It has articles which explain to you the things I explained to you today. It has ads for suppliers where you can buy the things we talked about today. It has a wealth of information for people I didn't think existed. So if you're interested, try and use that magazine and you'll find a wealth of information. I did. Last question. Once. Twice. Sold. Thank you very much.